In this video, I'll be sharing with you a requested tutorial from my group on how to cut this simple cut together blazer or jacket blouse. So if this is something you like, kindly hit on the subscribe button. Let's dive right into today's video. So to start, I'll start with cutting the back pattern of this dress, and I've gone ahead to mark out the basic measurement for the pattern, which is my shoulder to bust, waistline and blouse length. So I'm just going to correct this because I made a mistake marking this out. So after this, the next step you need to take is to mark your shoulder divided by 2. My shoulder divided by 2 is 7. Now we are going to add the sleeve of this dress much later. Now I'll come down by 1 inch and I'll draw out my shoulder slope. So note, this dress is also a cut together dress. So I'll start by marking my shoulder divided by 2 and I'll come down by 1 inch. Now this is serving as a guide because I'll still extend this shoulder part because we'll be adding our sleeve. Now I'll mark a basic neckline of 3 inches and I will connect it back to that point. What I'll do is to go ahead to find my chest line, although I might not be needing this. So to find your chest line is your bust circumference divided by 6 plus 1.5 inches. Mine is 7 and I drew a straight line there. I marked back what I have on the shoulder and I'm connecting it all the way up. After connecting that, the next step you want to take is to insert your measurements. There's no need marking your armhole curve. So on my bust, I'll mark my bust circumference divided by 4. And for this dress, you notice that it is a bit free. So you want to add 1 inch or 1.5 inches for ease and then add ½ inch for your sewing allowance. So depending on how free you want the dress, you can go ahead to add the ease. Here I'll mark my waist circumference divided by 4, add 1 inch for ease and add ½ inch for sewing allowance. Here I'll mark my hip circumference divided by 4, add 1 inch for ease and add ½ inch for sewing allowance. So I'm just going to connect. So if you want yours to have more ease, you can add about 1.5 inches to 2 for ease and then add ½ inch, because this particular dress is not fitted on the body. It is more like a free jacket, cut together jacket or blazer dress. Now for the sleeve of this dress, I'll be marking an extension from the shoulder measurement. Now looking at what we have there, the sleeve of this dress should be within 5 to 7 inches. So I'll mark. So sorry, when I was recording, I didn't realize this part of my video was a bit blur. So I used 7 inches. Now what I did was to come down by 1 inch at that 7 inches point for my shoulder slope. And I went ahead to place my ruler and I'll go ahead to connect. After I'm done connecting at this point, now you want to measure how wide you want your sleeve to be. So looking at what we have there is between 9 to 10 inches. So I'm using about 9 inches. Remember that this 9 inches, the sewing allowance is also included. So I'll mark that point at 9 inches. And what I'll do is I'll extend this back into the dress this way. If you think 7 inches is too long for the sleeve, you can reduce it to 5 inches. Now for the back neckline, I'm using 3 inches by 1 for the neckline. Here I'll just come up by 1 inch and I'll connect this to have like a little curve all the way down. And after I'm done marking this, I'm just going to go ahead to cut this out. Before cutting it out, I'm going to go ahead to use my marker to outline my pattern. So after that, I'll just head over to cut this out. So at this point, if you haven't yet subscribed, please kindly hit on the subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, leave your comment also at the comment section. So next, we'll be moving over to the front. So to make the cutting easier, what I'll do is just to place the the back pattern on the front pattern. And the front pattern, I'm placing it on fold. And I'll go ahead to pin this down. After pinning it down, I'll just go ahead to trace or cut out what I have here. Although I'll be extending the front pattern, I will readjust the front pattern to get the design we have there. Now I'll just go ahead to trace this out. After tracing it out, we can now go ahead to cut out or readjust the front pattern to get the design we have at that part of the pattern. So this is what I have, and I'm just going to go ahead to open it up. So before doing that, I'll mark the actual length of the blouse, and I'll add an extension of 1.5 inches to 2 inches at the lower part. This is because in front of this dress at the center we have like an extension. Now I'll reconnect it back to my pattern. So after this, I'll open this up, and you have to note where the center is because you'll be making reference to that point. Now for the neckline of the front, you can use between 7 inches to 8 inches for the depth of the neckline. So now I'll have to go ahead to mark the neckline of this pattern. So I placed my tape and I marked 7 inches, but I went ahead to extend this to 7.5 much later. So you can use between 7 inches to 8 inches for the depth of the neckline of this dress. After marking this, I'll go ahead to connect it. After I'm done connecting, I'll go ahead to repeat the same process at the other side of this pattern. Now I'll measure about 7.5 inches now, and I'll go ahead to connect it back. So this is what I have on my pattern. Now the next step I'll take is to note that center, and from this center you can mark an extension of 2.5 from 2 inches to 3.5 inches. So I'm using 2.5 inches on this side, and what I'll do is to rule out a straight line at that point. Next, I will measure about 2.5 to 3 inches down, and I will connect it this way, creating that slight curve. So after connecting it here, what I'll do is I will now take this all the way to the original waistline or hemline of the blazer blouse. Remember, we added an extension in front about 1.5 inches because the front part of this dress is a bit pointy. Now I'll just go ahead to outline this. So note, for this front pattern you have to cut out 2 pieces for your pattern because one will be overlapping the other side. So I just use one side of this pattern to cut out only one. So what you do is after cutting one, you will now use it to cut the other side of the blazer. So this is what I have. So just like I said, you'll be cutting out 2 pieces of this. After cutting, one will be for this side and the other one will be for the other side. So if you join your blazer back, this is what you're going to have. So with this, we have come to the end of today's tutorial. Thanks.